So there's a small YouTube channel named Growing in the Garden, hashtag not sponsored, and they're a pretty sweet YouTube channel that performs the hobby of gardening, an activity that Wikipedia defines as the process of growing plants for their vegetables, fruits, flowers, herbs, and appearances within the designated space. Sounds pretty sweet, right? Sounds like something you'd normally do in real life, right? Wrong, incorrect, invalid, mistaken, without foundation. Who needs to do things in real life where it actually has meaning, where it's actually tangible, you can feel the effects of it in real life, when you can do it in the digital world, where it's really inconvenient and it doesn't have any meaningful value in the real world? I'm talking about Grow a Garden, baby. That's right, the new hit popular game where you literally just click again, and then click again, click some more, click one last time, hold W key, spam click, repeat until number goes up. And that's literally it. That's what Grow a Garden basically is. You grow shitty retro food and then sell it to regrow more shitty retro food. You're probably wondering why I hate this game, and it's not because I hate the game, but rather I just hate it in general as a concept. Because this concept has been brought into this reality, it has awoken me from my 2-day slumber, and it has made me mad. I can't even consider this thing a game. There's no skill or competition, and there's only a lick of sandbox aspect to it in that you can choose where to place the seeds on certain plots of land. I hate the fact that 2 billion aliens, and I'm not talking about immigrants, I'm talking about freaking extraterrestrials, Doctor Who motherfuckers, are growing a garden along with every single person, their mother and their grandmother. And before we continue, here's a few things. Thank you to Michael's the Goat, my goat, one of my day ones, for giving me this video idea. I don't forget my day ones. Not very often, at least. He's been a frequent guy in my channel, and he's the GOAT, so huge thanks to the GOAT for giving me this boon to my channel. And also, before we continue, please don't go harassing Grow a Garden players or its developers, really. This is all just my opinion and my critique of the game, and nothing more. These things cannot be proven beyond a shadow of a doubt. I'm just some kid without any degrees or anything complaining about Grow a Garden. I'm not a professional or anything, I just want to deliver my opinion and nothing more. And also, sometimes you'll hear me refer to Grow a Garden as gag because I'm lazy, so yeah, had to clarify that first. So with that being said, let's begin. First off, I didn't mention 2 billion aliens playing Grow a Garden for nothing. Remember, there's only about 8.3 billion people on this planet. However, Grow a Gardens have 10.4 billion visits. Now, although it is funny to think that the Thum-Thums are playing Grow a Garden as well, I don't actually think that many accounts are actually hopping on the game. In fact, the way visits are calculated is by one account joining the game. So calling that type of instance / interaction or whatever a visit, quote unquote, is not actually true. It should rather be titled as how many joins there are. One single account can hop on the exact game twice, and apparently that counts as 2 visits from my research. So in order to calculate the approximate amount of actual accounts on this game, not players, but accounts, that are actively doing whatever shenanigans there are in the game, I took the total amount of visits by Grow a Garden, divided that by 5 under the assumption that the average GAG player visits an average about like 5 times a day, and we get a total of around 2.8 billion accounts, or 2.08 billion accounts, sorry about that. Probably 2.1 billish to account for people who have visited once and just never looked back, who have actually been involved in this number driving up. That's a lot of freaking people. However, there's only approximately 380 million active users on Roblox, and on top of the fact that there's literally more Roblox accounts than people who have access to the internet, then that means there is a ton of bot activity on GAG, which isn't unusual since no one's denying that there's bot activity on Roblox in the first place. But still, Grow a Garden is not as good as people think it is. Let's be real here. The reason why I have to prove that there's botting on Grow a Garden is not because the botting itself is a problem, even though it is, but rather because I just want to highlight that Grow a Garden is not as popular or good as anyone says it is. The heavily inflated numbers may say otherwise, but people need to understand where certain numbers come from, and the sources of these numbers may paint an entirely different picture. Those 2 million players could just as likely be bots. Otherwise, there's not a whole lot of people actually like playing Grow a Garden. This needs to be mentioned specifically because I know damn well that there's at least one person out there who's just playing Grow a Garden just because of its popularity. Well, sorry buddy, sorry to shatter your worldview or whatever, but GAG is not as popular as you think it is. But putting aside its popularity, what makes this game great is its gameplay, right? Wrong. Grow a Garden is probably one of the most mindless games I have ever seen. It's just a glorified 3D cookie clicker. There's no strategy, genuinely, there's no strategy at all. It's just grow plant with bigger number, and that's it. This has set the precedent where creators on Roblox can now make half-assed games with a very simple concept, and take that very simple concept and make it so simple to the point where, again, many different bots can come into the game and just absolutely trash the place and become a piece of evidence for dead internet theory. Again, this game is not meant for everyone, no game is, but I genuinely feel like Grow a Garden is just an excuse for some random guy to make some lousy ass game to make a quick buck or two. And the worst part about it is that, unlike other games, Grow a Garden is so simple in its mechanics to the point where it can easily be botted, and sure, some people like that. But again, what is the point of playing a game if you don't want to be stimulated, if you want to just, like, play some random measly game, if you don't want to be too stimulated? Like, that makes no sense at all. And again, I genuinely feel like Grow a Garden is just some excuse for some guy to make a quick buck or two based off, oh, I see gardening, I'm gonna make that a game, let's farm online. And yeah, this video is indeed just a quick video to get a quick buck or two. I don't actually hate Grow a Garden, but I just don't like the fact that it exists on Roblox. So yeah, that's about it. That's all I really gotta say. Overall, Grow a Garden is not a game. At the very most, if you really want to call it a game, it's a really bad game, and at the very most, Grow a Garden is literally not a game by any metric. You just mindlessly click on random crap to grow random vegetables that you can just grow outside. We really need to find a different definition for a game, because applications like these are not games. They are just... it's just whatever, like you just click on with your mouse and maybe you hold W key. I've barely seen anyone hold S key at all. And yeah, that's about it. That's all I really gotta say. I hope you all have a good day, and bye.